Hello again, I'm Peter French. So now to implement brand, using what we've been exposed to so far. Just about every time we're faced with communicating an abstract, we turn to the Circle of Change template. Let me show you how this helps. We always come back to this template to motivate ourselves, but also to use it to motivate others. Just a few words on each step in the Circle of Change. Nothing happens until we are inspired to make a change. Weight loss, chucking up smoking, improving a business process, they all start with inspiration. But inspiration in a dark back room won't initiate change. We have to articulate this inspiration in a way that inspires others who may be participants in the change we contemplate. In fact, it goes even deeper. Collecting those who you think are involved in bringing about change is only the first step. But then, as a group of change practitioners, we have to include everyone in the organization. More about this concept later. Most leaders we deal with are just plain overworked. They operate in the organized chaos of their business. If we had $1 for everyone that had told us, they'll only speak to me. So, the first thing on your mind, the furthest thing on your mind, is to educate your selected change team about your brand. If your brand is not priceless to you, how would you speak about it? If it was, how would you protect it? If you let loose employees to represent your brand and they did just an okay job, how would it impact your priceless artifact? You've got to start somewhere. So the team is picked and the project defined in your notebook. You need to inspire and educate your change team to drag your brand into the company so that when they're finished, that brand affects everything the whole company says and does and produces and represents to your prospective customers and employees. Then your disappearance doesn't matter. The brand has taken on a life of its own. More about application and implementation later. There are only two ways to tell a story. Both are involving the human senses: sight, sound, taste, feel, hearing, smell. When you're telling the story of your brand, try whenever possible to use the senses. Let's try it on our own coaching product. Imagine how satisfied you would feel when you use coaching to build your future legacy, to be in control of your destiny within a balanced life without overwhelm or overwork, able to sit back and watch your business thrive from a distance. Can you lay your hand on your heart and say you have a brand that talks to those that are influenced by it? That everybody has the same buy-in as you have. The first way of telling the story is to use a window analogy. Through your words, you lead the consumer of your brand to look in to the comfort, the safety, the status, and most other human emotions within the room behind the window. Mainly the outcome of them being shown others behind the window is how they would gain by entering the room, by engaging like others have done. More about that gain sale later. The next way to tell a story is to hold a mirror up to your consumer of the brand, for them to see their own details and problems, their pain, more clearly, and how that can be fixed through the application of our brand promises. Pain or gain sales are vastly different views of what a brand promise might be. Storytelling must always have a hero, sometimes juxtaposed with a villain. But we have found that an important outcome for telling a story is to propose a hypothesis of value. I've got, or promise, this big bag of money should you engage with my brand. What do you think the first things might be that cross your mind? They're lying. Too good to be true. Pull the other one, etc., etc. So the hypothesis invites the consumer to loosen the strings of the bag of money, we call it the bomb, and see for themselves how this value could be unlocked for them. The outcome is not necessarily the sale or use or further engagement of our product or service, but the further action, like they count the money, or we do a survey to collect their data, to prove this value to them using their own data rather than ours. That's right, an invitation, a deeper engagement by the consumer for us to prove this hypothesis in their context. Whether your team is making a presentation, writing an email, introducing a quote, the covering letter of a proposal, these basics apply. But you say, how do we use them? Why should they engage? To gain something they don't have, or to remove a pain which they do have? Define the business need, the burning platform, the driver which would make them jump. Paint the way it feels to move from the status quo, the movement, to that future state. Let them own the measurements to be taken, the specific outcomes defining when the journey is a success, the metric. If a brand speaks to market suspects and motivates them to start the process of understanding this organization can unlock value, then within that process lies the emotional connection to attract the right people to your team. If there's one thing you have to get right, it's to hire the right people for your business, based not on their journey in another enterprise, or their education, or that perfect interview, but how they fit the branding culture. In our age, where everything can be got from anywhere, and your potential customers know more about our products, of our services, or lack thereof, what our competitors are up to out there than we do, you need a formula working with your brand. Be uniform. Does that mean dress? Well, maybe. But the exposure, the speaking about, and the use of the brand need to be trained, certified, to represent and policed. Be constant, like consistent. This is a journey, not an event. Work at exposure. Have a plan, a calendar of events. If I hear another sales marketing pitch talking about ourselves, our history, and any subject not of interest to my prospect and brand promise, I may commit a horrible act. Certify staff before letting them loose on prospects. Build the words you use in workshops. Make them learn them off by heart. Certify them to deliver the words. Building your wings in contact with a prospect is like building them after jumping off a cliff. I wonder, does this mud in your eye attract you to learn more? Go to our website and search for as-mud-I, the blog. And don't forget to use the human senses. Just a smattering of branding, but we hope we've motivated you as a business leader to see why it's important for you to own this business process and demand outcomes that build your future Newco state.